Hello viewers, welcome to Seek Wisdom. Today we are here with the summary of book Switch on Your Brain, written by Dr. Caroline Leaf. Using wisdom of Bible and science research, this books will help you discover how to control toxic thoughts that impact your health and wellness. This book is in two parts. First part shows the keys to switch on your brain, and second part shows a 21-day, 5-step brain detox plan to switch on your brain. Please stay in this video till the end, as we have provided the brain detox plan at the end. Part 1. How to switch on your brain. Key 1. Mind controls matter. You are a thinking being. You think all day long, and at night as you sleep, you sort out your thinking. As you think, you choose, and as you choose, you cause genetic expression to happen in your brain. This means you make proteins, and these proteins form your thoughts. Thoughts are real physical things that occupy mental real estate. Our brain is changing moment by moment as we are thinking. Our mind is designed to control the body, of which the brain is a part, not the other way around. Matter does not control us, we control matter through our thinking and choosing. We cannot control the events and circumstances of life, but we can control our reactions. In fact, we can control our reactions to anything, and in doing so, we change our brains. Choices are real. You are free to make choices about how you focus your attention, and this affects how the chemicals, proteins, and wiring of your brain change and function. Research shows that DNA actually changes shape in response to our thoughts. Stage 1 of stress is normal. This is our alert state that keeps us focused and conscious. Stage 2 and Stage 3, however, are our mind and body's response to toxic thinking, normal stress gone wrong. Even a little bit of these negative levels of stress from a little bit of toxic thinking has far-reaching consequences for mental and physical health. Key 2. Choice and your multiple perspective advantage. Many of us walk through life as though we are victims of the events and circumstances of life and biology and whatever or whomever else we can think of to blame, but actually, you are not a victim. You can control your reactions. You do have a choice. Our free will influences our thinking, which produces our state of mind. Far from explaining away free will, the neuroscientific evidence actually explains how free will works. What we say and do is based on what we have already built into our minds. We evaluate this information and make our choices based on this information. Then we choose to build a new thought, and this is what drives what we say and do. Choice has mental real estate around the front of the brain that enables us to observe our thoughts and actions and make decisions about them. We have multiple perspective advantage, MPA for short. Our unique multifaceted nature, made in God's image, allows us to see things from many different angles or perspectives. We are directly responsible for what we choose to think about and dwell on, and we make these decisions in the privacy of our own thinking. We have been living under a myth called the gene myth, which locates the ultimate power over health and mental well-being in the untouchable realm of genes, relegating them to the level of gods. Genes may create an environment within us in which a problem may grow, a predisposition, but they do not produce the problem, we produce it through our choices. Our choices act as the signals that unzip the DNA. Our genetic makeup fluctuates by the minute based on what we are thinking and choosing. Key 3. Your choices change your brain. Our thoughts, imagination, and choices can change the structure and function of our brains on every level. Molecular, genetic, epigenetic, cellular, structural, neurochemical, and electromagnetic, and even subatomic. Through our thoughts we can be our own brain surgeons as we make choices that change the circuits in our brain. Choices become signals that change our brain and body, and these changes are not necessarily dictated by our genes. Epigenetics is referred to as a new science, but actually it is an ancient science that we find throughout the Bible. Epigenetics is the fact that your thoughts and choices impact your physical brain and body, your mental health, and your spiritual development. These choices will affect not only your own spirit, soul, and body, but also the people with whom you have relationships, and might impact the generations that follow. Studies show us that the good, the bad, and the ugly do come down through the generations. But your mind is the signal, the epigenetic factor that switches these genes on or off. Therefore, you are not destined to live out the negative patterns of your forebears, but you can instead make a life choice to overcome them by tweaking their expression. Scientists now know that the brain has the amazing ability to reorganize throughout life, changing its structure and function through thinking alone. Neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to change in response to thinking, can operate for you as well as against you because whatever you think about the most will grow. This applies to both the positive and negative ends of the spectrum. Our perception of the environment, plus how we manage our environment, controls our bodies and lives. So if you change your perception, you change your biology. You become the master of your life instead of a victim. Key 4. Catch those thoughts. The design of the brain allows us to capture and discipline chaotic thoughts. Catching our thoughts is necessary because it calms our spirits so we can tune in and listen to God. When we are mindful of catching our thoughts in this way, we change our connection with God from uninvolved and independent to involved and dependent. Research dating back to the 1970s shows that being introspectively aware of our thoughts in a disciplined way, rather than letting them chaotically run rampant, can bring about impressive changes in how we feel and think. Purposefully catching your thoughts can control the brain's sensory processing, the brain's rewiring, the neurotransmitters, the genetic expression, and cellular activity in a positive or negative direction. A chaotic mind filled with uncaptured rogue thoughts of anxiety, worry, and all manner of fear-related emotions sends out the wrong signal right down to the level of the DNA. 5 to 16 minutes a day of focused, meditative capturing of thoughts shifts frontal brain states so that they are more likely to engage with the world and increases the chances of a happier outlook on life. Key 5. Entering into directed rest. We have all kinds of coordinated networks in our brains that work together in an organized way, forming a constant, intrinsic chatter in the non-conscious part of our mind. Our brains maintain a high level of activity 24/7. This activity forms the brain's inner life, with the default mode network (DMN) dominating and becoming especially active when the mind is introspective and thinking deeply in a directed rest or idle state. As these networks function correctly, we shift into deeply introspective and meditative states that increase our intelligence and health. When we direct our rest by introspection, self-reflection, and prayer, when we catch our thoughts, when we memorize and quote scripture, when we develop our mind intellectually, we accelerate the default mode network (DMN) and improve brain function as well as mind, body, and spiritual health. The DMN is balanced by the task-positive network (TPN), which supports the active thinking required for making decisions. The more balanced we are, the more wisdom we apply in our thinking and decisions. This action step of the TPN is necessary for effective mind and brain change. Toxic thinking produces miswiring, which causes increased activity in the DMN, resulting in a decrease of activity in the TPN. This causes maladaptive, depressive ruminations and a decrease in the ability to solve problems. This makes us feel foggy, confused, negative, and oppressed. Your mind can powerfully and unexpectedly change your brain in positive ways when you intentionally direct your attention. Key 6. Stop milkshake multitasking. The truth about multitasking is that it is a persistent myth. What we really do is shift our attention rapidly and haphazardly from task to task, resulting in two negative things. 1. We don't devote as much focused attention as we should to a specific activity, task, or piece of information, and 2. We sacrifice the quality of our attention. Author called this milkshake multitasking. This milkshake multitasking creates patterns of flightiness and lack of concentration. Too often this results in unnecessary medication, which adds fuel to the fire. The general pattern today is that so much attention is paid to tweeting, Instagramming, and Facebooking that we forget all about enjoying the moment. So-called social media experts tell us that information needs to be provided in bite-sized amounts and in a constant stream of new information before the previous information has even been digested. This is not stimulation, it is bombardment. Milkshake multitasking decreases our attention, making us increasingly less able to focus on our thought habits. This opens us up to shallow and weak judgments and decisions and results in passive mindlessness. Deep, intellectual thinking activates the prefrontal cortex in a positive way, producing increased concentration, less distraction, less switching between tasks. More effective switching between tasks, decreased emotional volatility, and overall increase in job completion. Key 7. Thinking, God, and the quantum physics brain. There is the sensory world of our five senses, there is the world of electromagnetism and the atom, and then there is the deeper quantum world. This quantum world challenges physicists' perception of linear time, orderly space, and fixed realities. And it turns on its head the Cartesian Newtonian world that sees humans as machines with exchangeable parts. Quantum physics, which is different from classical physics, is a way of explaining how the things that make up atoms work and making sense of how the smallest things in nature work. Quantum physics basically says, your consciousness affects the behaviors of subatomic particles. Particles move backward and forward in time and appear in all possible places at once, and the universe is connected with faster-than-light transfers of information. Quantum theory converts science's conception of humans from being mere cogs in a gigantic mechanical machine to being free-thinking agents whose conscious free choices affect the physical world. Our perceptions determine the outcome. We perceive the world through the thoughts we have built into our brains. Thought signals seem to move faster than the speed of light and in ways that classical physics cannot explain. This means our mind controls matter and is therefore a creative force. Humans are seen as observers outside the system who exert an effect that is unpredictable. The random and unpredictable nature of quantum physics is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. This principle is a way God shows us that we do not control the future. He does. Author believe God is taking us through the material world into the spiritual world to get to know Him more deeply, and the quantum concept is part of this journey. Key 8. The science of thought. The geodesic information processing theory deals with the science of thought. It is a description of how we think, choose, and build thoughts and the impact of this on our brain and behavior. Brain works in neurological pillars and multiple parallel circuits, which means there is a lot of interconnectivity among the networks of the brain. It is our choices that make something out of nothing. It's our choices that collapse the probabilities into actualities that define the state of our non-conscious metacognition, which in turn inform our conscious cognition and symbolic actions. The Switch on Your Brain 21-Day Brain Detox Plan is designed to help improve your thinking and choices and subsequent happiness and health. This is the incredible power God has given us to be able to think and choose and create reality. This reality can be good or evil based on our choices. After a period of repeated thinking about the choice over 2 to 3 cycles of 21 days, the new thought moves into the non-conscious metacognitive level where it becomes part of our internal perception. This process is called automatization. Everything you do and say is first a thought. The non-conscious metacognitive mind is filled with the thoughts you have been building since you were born, and they form the perceptual base from which you see life. Part 2. The 21-Day Brain Detox Plan. It is a simple tool to help bring peak happiness, thinking, health, and peace not only into your life but also into the lives of your loved ones. To detox your thought life, you need to remember it's your thinking that will actually change your brain. It is a 5-step switch on your brain learning process that will take 7 to 10 minutes minimum to be done daily for 21 days. What you will be doing is bringing the toxic thought into consciousness and then proceeding to destroy it and growing a healthy new thought to replace the toxic one at the same time. You work on only one thought network each 21-day cycle. Make a conscious effort to practice using the new thought as much as you can until you reach automatization. The 21-Day Brain Detox Plan will work best when you set the challenge just beyond the edge of your comfort zone. A challenge is good for you. Step 1. Gather. The gather step is all about becoming aware of all the signals that are coming into your mind from the external environment through the 5 senses and understanding the internal environment of your mind. This is a simple exercise just to help you become aware of what is coming into your mind. What thoughts are bubbling up into your conscious mind right at this moment? Focus in and see how many there are. Can you determine the attitude of the thoughts that are currently moving through your conscious mind? If the attitude that is activated is negative, then the emotional response will naturally be a negative or stressful feeling. If the attitude is positive, the feeling will be peaceful. If you change your attitude and determine to apply God's excellent advice not to worry, the hypothalamus will cause the secretion of chemicals that facilitate the feeling of peace. Do the thoughts in your conscious mind at this moment make you feel peace or worry? Be aware of how your body feels. Are you tensing your shoulders? This is where you consciously step up to center stage. You need to choose and decide whether or not these incoming thoughts will become part of who you are. As you identify the toxic thought in the breaking down process, you immediately, prayerfully, consciously think of the replacement thought. For example, my God will supply every need of yours according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. Step 2. Focused reflection. Once you have gone through the whole gathering awareness step, then you need to go deep and focus your reflection. As you catch your thoughts and enter into directed rest, an incredible change happens in your brain. It boils down to deep intellectual, disciplined thinking with attention regulation, thinking, body awareness, emotion regulation, and a sense of self that changes the brain positively. Huge activity in the center and front of the brain happens when we focus our thinking. Neuroplasticity is dominant because, as you focus your thinking, you are starting to redesign your brain, grow and integrate healthy branches by reflecting on the positive and not just dwelling on the negative. Step 3. Write. The actual process of writing consolidates thoughts. Writing adds clarity to what you have been thinking about. It helps you better see the area that needs to be detoxed by allowing you to see your non-conscious and conscious thoughts in a visual way. Keep a thought journal. Add more information and links with other branches by writing the positive alongside the negative. Pour your thoughts out and only sort them in the next step, the revisit. Step 4. Revisit. Revisiting what you have written will be a revealing process. The revisit step is a moving forward step during which you are working out solutions and ways to overcome. This is when you evaluate where you have come from and where you are going. You also have the opportunity to think through your reactions again, evaluating the toxicity levels, and reorganizing, redesigning, and retranscribing. You are doing the same thing in the breaking down and building up processes here. The steps cross over because you are planning the solution to replace the problem. This starts stabilizing the branches to firm up the glue bonds. Step 5. Active reach. They are actions and exercises you say or do during the course of the day and evening. You practice using the new healthy thought until it becomes automatized like a good habit. The active reach is the stage in which you reach out beyond toxic thinking by applying the principle, faith without works is dead. This is where your faith manifests and you actually do something with the detoxing that has been going on until now. You reach further. It is the final step to switching on the brain and detoxing. But you can't reach with success without the foundation created in the previous steps. When you have moved through the 5-step sequence, gather, reflect, write, revisit, active reach, to detox your thoughts and simultaneously build the healthy thought, you'll have built a secure foundation for change, health, and wholeness. Let us implement this detox plan and switch on our brain. If you like this video, please hit a like, share it with your friends and subscribe this channel for more such videos.